George Romero's horror classic Night of the Living Dead, presented with closed captioning by VITAC. Audio description provided by the American Council of the Blind's Audio Description Project, with recording services provided by Dominion Post. In black and white, a country road on a barren landscape, it winds past leafless trees and a telephone pole. An Image 10 production. In the distance, an automobile cruises closer along the byway. The wide-body sedan careens past as a title appears, Night of the Living Dead. Screenplay by John Russo, George Romero. Additional titles include Production Director Vincent Cervinsky, Production Manager George Cosana, photographed by The Leighton Image, Incorporated. The automobile motors further along the road, its pavement now cracked, forming roughly round patterns. A shallow gully abuts the road. The car turns sharply to its right onto a dirt road and incline. A triangular and pockmarked sign reads, Cemetery Entrance. Produced through the facilities of the Leighton Image, Incorporated and Hardman Associates, Incorporated, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Another right turn, headstones mark each side of the road. Produced by Russell W. Striner, Carl Hardman. Directed by George A. Romero. The auto passes additional grave markers and a fluttering American flag. It slows to a halt. In the passenger seat, a woman, mid-30s, with shoulder-length hair. A bespectacled man in the same age range is driving. A cigarette dangles from his lips.
They ought to make the day the time changes, the first day of summer.
What?
Well, it's 8 o'clock and it's still light.
A lot of good the extra daylight does us. Now, we've still got a 3-hour drive back. We're not going to be home until after midnight.
Well, if it really bugged you, Johnny, you wouldn't do it.
You think I want to blow Sunday on a scene like this? You know, I figure we're either going to have to move Mother out here or move the grave into Pittsburgh.
She can't make a trip like this.
Oh, you know that she can't.
John turns to the rear
See
seat.
that candy left?
No.
Look at this thing. We still remember. I don't. You know, I don't even remember what the man looks like.
Johnny, it takes you 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes to put the wreath on the grave and 6 hours to drive back and forth. Mother wants to remember, so we trot 200 miles into the country and she stays at home.
Well, we're here, John, all right?
She rolls up her window and exits the car. He holds a cross-shaped wreath. The car radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming back on the air after an interruption due to technical problems.
John turns off the radio and rolls up his window. He follows the woman onto the cemetery grounds. She pulls up her coat collar.
There's nothing wrong with the radio. Must have been the station.
Which row is it in?
Seen from below, the branches of a tree spread like a tangled web. The couple wanders among headstones.
Well, there's no one around.
Well, it's late. If you'd gotten up earlier.
Oh, look, I already lost an hour's sleep on the time change.
I think you complain just to hear yourself talk. There it is.
They move toward a low-angled marker. John kneels before it and places the wreath.
I wonder what happened to the one from last year. Each year we spend good money on these things. We come out here and the one from last year's gone.
Well, the flowers die, and the caretaker or somebody takes them away.
Yeah, a little spit and polish. You can clean this up. Sell it next year. Wonder how many times we bought the same one.
The woman kneels at the marker and bows her head. John, in a suit, a shirt with 2 pens in its pocket, and a polka dot tie, walks several feet away and turns back.
Hey, come on, Barb. Church was this morning, huh?
Flashes of light brighten his face as he looks toward the sky. Some distance away, a male figure staggers past a headstone. John dons gloves. He turns back to Barbara.
Hey, I mean praying's for church, huh? Come on.
I haven't seen you in church lately.
Well, there's not much sense in my going to church. Do you remember one time when we were small, we were out here? It was from right over there. I jumped out at you from behind the tree, and Grandpa got all excited, and he shook his fist at me, and he said, "Boy, you'll be damned to hell." Remember that? Right over there.
Barbara walks past John.
Well, you used to really be scared here.
Johnny,
You're still afraid.
stop it now. I mean it.
John grins.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're acting like a child.
They're coming for you.
John looks toward the other man.
There comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny.
Johnny runs off, but looks back just as the man comes closer to Barbara and grasps her neck.
Oh, no! No! Johnny! Help me!
Barbara runs but stops, clutching a tall headstone, turns toward the 2 men struggling. The stranger places a large hand on John's face. John pushes the man off, but he rises and they grapple again. They tumble to the ground, where John hits his head on a stone marker. The man looks up, baring his crooked mouth. Barbara is transfixed until the man rises and she turns to escape. He pursues her, brushing past the tree's overhanging limbs. Barbara runs, but stumbles, losing a shoe. She looks back, then scrambles to her feet and reaches the car. She reaches for the car's ignition. The keys are not there. Barbara locks the passenger side and turns back to the driver's side as the man reaches the car, grabbing at the window, pressing his palms on the glass. He jogs to the passenger side of the car and tugs on that door, again placing his palms on the window. Then he turns away, clutches a brick from the ground, and strikes the glass. Reaching through the opening, he lunges for Barbara. She pulls on the car's handbrake, and the vehicle drifts forward. The man grasps at the edge of the passenger side window until the car pulls away. With the stalker framed in the rear window, Barbara guides the car down a narrow road. The man pursues her, stumbling behind with an awkward gait. The auto picks up speed, but veers to the side of the road, scraping the driver's side against a tree and coming to a halt. Barbara turns to the rear. The man staggers closer. Barbara exits the car from the passenger side and, wide-eyed, flees. The man stomps toward her with wide steps. Barbara emerges from brush at a paved road, looks right, but turns left, racing away and looking back as she runs. The man stomps through tall grass. Barbara stops abruptly at a forked tree, a 2-story white frame house just across a field. She looks back and then continues on toward the structure, pausing to grasp a metal gasoline pump. Flailing her arms, she races to the front porch of the building. She turns away and runs toward the side of the structure, only to fall again. She rises and scrambles to the rear. She pauses at the corner and peers around it. The man still lurches toward her as she crosses around and enters the building, closing its rear door. She leans against the rear door and then tentatively explores the house, crossing past shadowed areas and pools of light, spying a dining room table and chairs. Barbara enters a narrow kitchen, passes an old-fashioned refrigerator, and tugs at a drawer. She grabs a large knife. She cautiously moves toward another room where items are strewn on the floor. She brushes past a newspaper, knocking it to the ground. Moving across a hallway into another area, knife clutched in her right hand, she looks up. Animal heads are mounted on the walls. She turns to the side. The man staggers along the exterior of the house. Barbara, at a drapery, peers out a window. The man pulls a length of wood from the ground and flings it at the side of the house. He pulls down a length of line attached at the corner of the house. Barbara pulls the drapes at the window, turns toward a telephone, and rushes to it. She looks at the phone's receiver and hangs it up. She steps away quickly, but then returns to retrieve the knife. Barbara emerges into a narrow area and scurries to a window at one end. The man, or zombie-like creature, a vacant expression on his face and on his eyes, is outside. He's followed by several others, rocking side to side. Barbara backs away, stumbling at a chair, and runs from the room and down a dark hallway. She looks up a staircase and guardedly scales the steps. Suddenly, a decomposed head, one eye open wide, teeth large and glaring. Still holding the knife, Barbara clutches the sides of her face, her mouth wide open. She stumbles down the steps, leaning over the railing, retracing her steps and rushing to a door. She pulls it open, emerging into a glare of white light. Two headlights glow in a haze. Then another man appears, shirt open at the collar, close-cropped hair. Their eyes lock, and he ushers Barbara back into the house.
It's all right. Don't worry about him. I can handle him. Probably be a lot more of them as soon as they find out about us.
He glances out a window and scans several rooms.
The truck is out of gas. This pump out here is locked. Is there a key?
Barbara stares wide-eyed.
We can try to get out here if we can get some gas. Is there a key?
He turns away to a dial phone.
I suppose you've tried this.
Barbara gazes up the staircase.
Do you live here?
Barbara brings her hands up toward her head. The gentleman looks up the steps and ascends. The head.
Jesus.
He rushes back down.
We've got to get out of here. We have to get to where there's some other people. Maybe we better take some food. I'll see if I can find some food.
Barbara tentatively reaches out to the side of the stairwell, bows her head, but then looks up. A pool of blood. A drop splatters on Barbara's hand. She rushes into a living area, tugging at her hair. Then, in the kitchen, the gentleman at the refrigerator.
What's happening?
How do you think it's happening?
What's happening?
He looks to her, and then beyond. Outside, a headlight is smashed by a zombie. The man runs to a window.
Two of them. There are two of them out there. Have you seen any more around here? I can take care of those two.
I
I know you're afraid, but we have
I don't know! I don't know! What's happening?
The gentleman pushes open a screen door. Two zombies at a car. One smashes another headlight. The gentleman wields a poker and swings at a youngish-looking creature, sending him to the ground. He's hit repeatedly. Another zombie glares and approaches the gentleman from behind. The gentleman strikes the second zombie repeatedly. Another creature, a trickle of blood at his mouth, enters the house just down the hall from Barbara, collapsed in a cushioned chair. Outside, the gentleman stands over the two motionless zombies. He enters the house and rushes to Barbara, pulling her away as the zombie approaches. The gentleman confronts the human-like monster, dropping the poker but wrestling the zombie to the ground. The gentleman retrieves the poker and chops with it at the monster. The gentleman backs away, staring at his hands. Yet another robe-clad creature appears in the house. The gentleman strikes him in the face with the poker. He bends away to reveal several more individuals with blank stares nearby, outdoors. The gentleman locks the kitchen door.
They know we're in here now.
Barbara, with an intense gaze, slowly moves in the shadows to the still body of a zombie.
Don't look at it.
He drags the body away. He tugs the body by its legs out the kitchen door. Several other creatures stagger nearby. He kneels at the body and strikes a match. A blaze erupts just as the other monsters approach. They back away. Back in the house, Barbara stares at the gentleman as he gazes out the window. He runs to the side of the kitchen and flicks on an overhead light.
Get some more lights on in this house.
He rummages through 2 toolboxes, collecting wrenches and other metal objects. Barbara turns away. Barbara returns, fingering the blade of her knife. The gentleman rifles other drawers, retrieving nails and screws.
Why don't you see if you can find some wood, some board, something there by the fireplace, something we can nail this place up.
Barbara moves only slightly.
Look, I know you're afraid. I'm afraid too. But we have to try to board the house up together. Now, I'm going to board up the windows and the doors. Do you understand? We'll be all right here. We'll be all right here until someone comes to rescue us. But we'll have to work together. You'll have to help me. Now, I want you to go in and get some wood so I can board the place up. Do you understand? Okay? Okay?
She nods weakly. Barbara steps carefully into the living area next to a wide fireplace. The gaping mouth of a stuffed animal, teeth and curled fangs bared, is mounted on a wall. Barbara fingers a small box on furniture underneath. The box revolves, its mirrored doors open and close. In the kitchen, the gentleman handles a wood door off its hinges. Snatching an ironing board and prying a board from the base of an appliance, he collects other planks from under it. In the living area, Barbara turns to the fireplace and collects small blocks of wood. She returns to the kitchen as her fellow defender props the free door against the kitchen door. Barbara sets the blocks atop the refrigerator. She then paces to the door, bracing it as he wields a hammer and nails. As he pounds, Barbara seems lost. She fingers the door and backs away.
Enough, that's wrong. Yeah, I want you to pick out some nails. Pick out the biggest ones you can find.
He rushes off. Next, he stands in another room, hammering at planks nailed to a window.
Yeah, this room looks pretty secure.
He flips on the light in an adjacent room.
If we have to, we can run in here and board up the doors. Won't be long for those things be back pounding their way in here. They're afraid now.
He drags planks into the dining area.
They're afraid of fire. I found that out.
He pulls chairs aside from a dining table and removes the white tablecloth. Barbara places her hands near a radiator.
You know a place back down the road called Beekman's? Beekman's Diner?
He pulls the table to its side.
Anyhow, that's where I found that truck I have out there.
Barbara folds the tablecloth, clasping it to her chest.
There's a radio in the truck. I had jumped in to listen to it when a big gasoline truck came screaming right across the road. Where there must have been 10, 15 of those things chasing after it, grabbing and holding on. Now, I didn't see them at first. I could just see that the truck was moving in a funny way. And those things were catching up to it.
He removes a table leg.
The truck went right across the road.
He upends the table.
Slammed on my brakes to keep from hitting it myself. It went right through the guardrail. I guess the driver must have cut off the road into that gas station by Beekman's Diner. It went right through the billboard, ripped over a gas pump, and never stopped moving. By now, it was like a moving bonfire.
Barbara sits in an easy chair.
Didn't know if the truck was going to explode or what. Still hear the man screaming. This thing is just backing away from it. I looked back at the diner to see if there was anyone there who could help me. That was when I noticed that the entire place had been encircled. There wasn't a sign of life left, except by now there were no more screams. I realized that I was alone with 50 or 60 of those things, just standing there, staring at me. I started to drive. I just plowed right through them. They didn't move. They didn't run or just stood there staring at me. Just wanted to crush them. They scattered through the air like bugs.
We were riding in the cemetery, Johnny and me. Johnny. We came to put a wreath on my father's grave. Johnny, and he said, "Can I have some candy, Barbara?" We didn't have any. And, oh, it's hot in here. Hot.
She pulls open her trench coat.
And he said, "Oh, it's late. Why did we start so late?" And I said, "Johnny, if you'd gotten up earlier, we wouldn't be late." Johnny asked me if I were afraid. And I said, "I'm not afraid, Johnny." And then this man started walking up the road. He came slowly, and Johnny kept teasing me and saying, "He's coming to get you, Barbara." And I laughed at him and said, "Johnny, stop it."
The gentleman props the table against a window.
Johnny ran away. And I went up to this man, and I was going to apologize.
Why don't you just keep calm?
And I looked up, and I said, "Good evening." and he grabbed me. He grabbed me, and he ripped at me. He held me, and he ripped at my clothes.
I think you should just calm down.
Oh, I screamed, Johnny! Johnny, help me!
She clenches her fists and holds her face.
And he wouldn't let me go. He ripped. And then Johnny came and he ran and he fought this man. And I got so afraid. I ran. And Johnny didn't come. We have to wait for Johnny. Maybe we better go out and get him. We have to go out and get Johnny. He's out there. Please, don't you hear me? We've got to go out and get him. Please! We have got to go get Johnny! Please help me!
She runs to him and tugs at his shoulder.
Don't you know what's going on out there? This is no Sunday school picnic.
Don't you understand? My brother is alone!
Your brother is dead.
No! My brother is not dead!
She leaps for the door. He pulls her away. She slaps him. He returns the strike. She faints. He catches her. He lifts her and places her on a nearby daybed, loosening her coat. Next, hammer in hand, he kneels at an old-fashioned radio.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments.
He pounds and nails at planks on a wall.
These are the facts as we know them. There is an epidemic of mass murder being committed by a virtual army of unidentified assassins. The murders are taking place in villages, cities, rural homes, and suburbs with no apparent pattern or reason for the slayings. It seems to be a sudden, general explosion of mass homicide. We have some descriptions of the assassins. Eyewitnesses say they are ordinary-looking people. Some say they appear to be in a kind of trance. Others describe them as being...
The gentleman goes to a window. Outside, several men in the trance-like state surround the car.
So, at this point, there is no really authentic way for us to say who or what to look for and guard yourself against. Misshapen monsters. Reaction of law enforcement officials is one of complete bewilderment at this hour. So far, we have been unable to determine that any kind of organized investigation is yet underway. Police, sheriff's deputies, and emergency ambulances are literally deluged with calls for help. The scene can best be described as mayhem.
The gentleman lights a fire in the fireplace.
Philadelphia and Miami, along with the governors of several eastern and midwestern states, have indicated the National Guard may be mobilized at any moment, but that has not happened as yet.
With a can of fluid, he pulls aside an easy chair and douses it with the fluid.
It's for private citizens to stay in their homes behind locked doors. Do not venture outside for any reason.
He rips down a drapery, mops up some fluid with it, tears it into strips, and wraps it around a table leg.
To radio and TV for any special instructions as this crisis develops further. Thousands of office and factory workers are being urged to stay at their places of employment, not to make any attempt.
He lights
to get
the
to their
end of the
homes.
table leg at the
However,
fireplace.
in spite of this urging and warning, streets and highways are packed with frantic people trying to reach their families or apparently to flee just anywhere. We repeat, the safest course of action at this
He opens the door and uses his torch to set ablaze a chair on the porch, kicking it over toward the creatures.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've just received word that the president has called a meeting of
Back inside, the gentleman places a plank in another window.
The meeting is scheduled to convene within the hour. Members of the presidential cabinet will be joined by officials of the FBI and joint chiefs behind closed doors. The White House spokesman, in announcing this conference, says there will be an official announcement as soon as possible following that meeting. This is the latest dispatch.
Holding a free door, he pauses and looks toward Barbara, motionless on the daybed.
National Press Services in Washington, D.C. now tells us that the emergency presidential conference, which we've just mentioned,
He pulls the door through another, pulling it partly closed.
Aeronautics and Space Administration.
Behind it, another entranceway, its borders unadorned and barely visible, enclosed with only a small latch. The gentleman hammers a screwdriver at the hinges of the partially closed door.
All radio and TV stations,
Barbara stirs.
including the one to which you're listening, have joined their facilities in an emergency network to bring you this news as it develops. We urge you to stay tuned to radio and TV and to stay indoors at all costs. Late reports reaching this newsroom tell of frightened people seeking refuge in churches, schools, and government buildings, demanding shelter and protection from the wholesale murder, which apparently is engulfing much of the nation.
Barbara rises and leans back against the adjacent wall. The gentleman hammers, securing another outside leading door. He steps down from a chair and collapses in a couch, breathing heavily. He pulls a cigarette from his shirt pocket and lights it.
Tell them to go home and lock their doors and windows up tight. We don't know what kind of murder-happy characters we have here. End quote. Police Chief Dunmore of Camden, North Carolina. So far, the only descriptions, the only clues anyone has of the killers come from frightened witnesses of some of the slayings. These eyewitness accounts variously describe...
He rises and crosses to a closet door, pulling it open. Women's shoes lie on the floor. He inspects them, turning to look to the side.
Like people, but act like animals. Some eyewitnesses tell of seeing victims who look as though they had been torn apart. This whole ghastly story began developing 2 days ago with the report of the slaying of a family of 7 in their...
In the closet, he spots a rifle. He pulls it out and, putting his cigarette aside, rummages through a shoebox on a shelf.
in an erratic, disconnected manner throughout much of the eastern and midwest of the United States. Efforts to keep track of the murder reports by the placing of markers on a map seem to indicate a general spreading of the extreme southeastern United States.
It contains 3 small, narrow boxes. He examines one and places it back in the shoebox and braces the shoebox under an arm. He enters the next room with the rifle and box as Barbara, sitting up, is removing her coat.
Portion of Texas. Similar killings have been reported around the Houston and Galveston areas, but nothing like...
I found a gun and some bullets out there.
It was only late yesterday.
Oh, and these.
The women's shoes. Barbara is still. He places the shoes on her feet.
Filtering in, newsmen and law enforcement agencies were of the opinion
This place is boarded up pretty solid now.
in nature. However, as these
We ought to be all right here for a while.
dramatically, it was soon apparent that
We have
this
the
was
gun
something
and
more than the
bullets.
usual run of lawlessness.
Food and the radio.
Some began to suspect an obscure kind of conspiracy.
Sooner or later, someone's
Things as
bound to come and get us out.
He loads bullets into the rifle.
So again, we join with law enforcement agencies in urging you to seek shelter in a building. Lock the doors and windows securely.
Hey, that's us. We're doing all right.
Cautious of any suspicious strangers. And keep tuned to your radio and television for survival instructions and further details of this continuing story.
Look, I don't know if you're hearing me,
Goes on in the absence of any law.
but I'm going upstairs now.
It's almost as though some critical balance of
If anything should try to break in here, I can hear it from up there, and I'll be down to take care of it.
savage killers. We repeat, this radio station...
Everything is all right for now. I'll be back to reinforce the windows and doors later. But you'll be all right for now, okay?
She is still. He reaches to her.
Okay.
Dateline on this report is Cumberland, Maryland. Civil defense officials in Cumberland have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers.
Barbara looks up. The gentleman scales the shadowy staircase carefully, rifle at his side. At the top landing, he puts the rifle aside and drags a barefoot corpse, clad in a dress, down the hallway. Next, the living room.
Consistent reports from witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered. Repeating this latest bulletin just received moments ago from Cumberland, Maryland, civil defense authorities have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers.
Barbara stares, eyebrows knit tightly.
Shows conclusively that the killers are eating the flesh of the people they kill. And so this incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. It's difficult to imagine such a thing
Barbara
actually
looks
happening.
to a door.
But these are the reports we have been receiving and passing on to you. Reports which have been verified as completely as is possible in this confused situation. It is happening.
A hand appears at the door's edge. The door opens. Two men appear, one lunging toward Barbara, the other, older and balding, armed with a rifle. The gentleman upstairs reaches for his rifle and descends the stair. He bursts into the living room.
We're from town. A radio.
The older man kneels at the box unit.
Murder being partially eaten by their slayers is true. No further details available at this time. However,
How long you guys been down there? I could use some help up here.
That's the cellar. It's the safest place.
You mean you didn't hear the racket we were making up here?
How were we supposed to know what was going on? Could have been those things for all we knew.
That girl was screaming. Sure, you must know what a girl screaming sounds like. Those things don't make any noise. Anybody would know somebody ever needed help.
Look, it's kind of hard to hear what's going on from down there. We thought we could hear screams, but for all we knew, that could have meant those things were in the house afterward.
And you wouldn't come up and help?
Well, if there were more, the racket sounded like the place was being ripped apart. How were we supposed to know what was going on?
Now, wait a minute. You just got finished saying you couldn't hear from down there. Now you say it sounded like the place was being ripped apart. It would be nice if you get your story straight, man.
All right, now you tell me. I'm not going to take that kind of a chance when we got a safe place. We luck into a safe place, and you're telling us we got to risk our lives just because somebody might need help, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, why don't we settle this? Look, mister, we came up. Okay, we're here. Now I suggest we all go back downstairs before any of those things find out we're in here.
They can't get in here.
You got the whole place boarded up?
Yeah, most of it. All but a few spots upstairs. They won't be hard to fix.
You're insane. The cellar's the safest place.
I'm telling you, they can't get in here.
And I'm telling you, those things turned over our car. We were damn lucky to get away at all. Now you tell me those things can't get through this lousy pile of wood? His wife and kids downstairs. The kid's hurt.
Well, I still think we're better off up here.
We could strengthen everything up, Mr. Cooper.
With all of us working, we can fix this place up in no time. We have everything we need up here.
We can take all that stuff downstairs with us. Man, you're really crazy, you know that? You got 1,000,000 windows up here. All these windows, you're gonna make them strong enough to keep these things out, huh?
I told you those things don't have any strength. I smashed 3 of them and pushed another one out the door.
Did you hear me when I told you they turned over our car?
Oh, hell, any good 5 men can do that.
That's my point. Only there's not going to be 5 or even 10. There's going to be 20, 30, maybe 100 of those things. And as soon as they know we're here, this place is going to be crawling with them.
Well, if there are that many, they'll probably get us wherever we are.
Look, the cellar. The cellar, there's only one door, right? Just one door, that's all we have to protect. Tom and I fixed it so it locks and boards from the inside. But up here, all these windows, why, we'd never know where they were going to hit us next. You got a point, Mr. Cooper. But down in the cellar, there's no place to run to. I mean, if they did get in, there'd be no back exit. We'd be done for. We can get out of here if we have to. And we got windows to see what's going on outside. But down there with no windows, if a rescue party did come, we wouldn't even know it. But the cellar is the strongest place.
The cellar is a death trap.
I don't know, Mr. Cooper. I think he's right. You know how many's out there?
I don't know. Maybe 6 or 7.
Look, you two can do whatever you like. I'm going back down to the cellar, and you better decide. Because I'm going to board up that door, and I'm not going to unlock it again no matter what happens. Now, wait a minute, Mr. Cooper. No, I'm not going to wait. I've made my decision, now you make yours. Now, wait a minute. Let's think about this. We can make it to the cellar if we have to. And if we do decide to stay down there, we'll need some things from up here. So let's at least consider this a while.
He peers between planks on a window.
If you box yourself in the cellar and those things get in the house, you've had it. At least up here you have a fighting chance.
The creatures sway beside the car.
Yeah, it looks like about 8 or 10 out there now.
There's more than there were. There are a lot out back, too.
He strides toward the kitchen. Two arms plunge through a window and curtain. Tom rushes to the kitchen and grabs the blocks off the refrigerator as the gentleman aims his rifle toward the door. Tom swats at the hands and arms in the window. The arms flail until the gentleman aims and fires at close range. A male is shot through his torso. He staggers.
Harry? Harry, what's happening?
It's all right.
The male looks up and continues to grapple at the window. Still standing, the male stares. It collapses. Creatures sway in the darkness and begin to surround the house. Viewed from behind, one female is naked. A male has a deep facial scar. Another female is similarly disfigured. She tears at the bark of a tree and gnaws the material.
We gotta fix these boards.
You're crazy. Those things are going to be at every window and door in this place. We've got to get down into the cellar.
Go down in your damn cellar. Get out of here!
Cooper looks around.
I'm taking the girl with me.
You leave her here. Keep your hands off her. And everything else that's up here, too. Because if I stay up here, I'm fighting for everything up here. And the radio and the food is part of what I'm fighting for. Now, if you're going down the cellar, get.
The man's insane. He's insane. We've got to have food down there. We've got a right.
This is your house.
We've got a right.
You going down there with him?
Well,
Yes or no? This is your last chance. No beating around the bush.
Listen, I got a kid down there. She can't possibly. I couldn't bring her up here. She can't possibly take all the racket and those things smashing through the windows.
Well, you're her father. If you're stupid enough to go die in that trap, that's your business. However, I am not stupid enough to follow you. It is tough for the kid that her old man is so stupid. Now, you get the hell down in the cellar. You can be the boss down there. I'm boss up here.
Cooper grimaces.
You bastards. You know, I won't open this door again. I mean it.
Mr. Cooper, with your help, we could...
With my help.
Let him go, man. His mind is made up. Just let him go.
Cooper turns to the cellar.
Wait a minute.
Tom at the top of the cellar stairs.
Judy, come on up here, honey.
Judy appears in her 30s with long hair.
You're gonna let them get hurt too, huh?
It's all right, honey. Go ahead.
She sits next to Barbara. Cooper retreats to the cellar through the unadorned door frame and barricades himself from the inside.
If we stick together, man, we can fix it up real good. There's lots of places we can run to up here. Mr. Cooper, we'd all be a lot better off if all three of us were working together.
Then the gentleman kneeling by Barbara.
Hey. Hey, kid. He's wrong, you know. I'm not boxing myself in down there.
He lights a cigarette. Next, Cooper in the cellar with a middle-aged woman and a child lying on a table covered by a blanket.
Well, we're safe now. It's boarded up tight.
What about Tom and Judy?
They want to stay up there and let them.
He tosses a length of metal.
There are two other people upstairs, a man and a girl.
We heard you screaming.
Yeah, but I didn't know who they were, and I wasn't about to take any unnecessary chances.
Of course not, Harry.
He pulls out a cigarette and crumples the empty cigarette pack, throwing it down forcefully. He glares at the woman. Then he moves toward the girl, caressing her forehead.
Is she all right?
I don't know what it is. She feels warm, Maybe it's shock.
She wraps the girl's arm.
Where'd you get the bandage?
Some laundry in a basket. I tore a sheet.
Cooper lights the cigarette and stares toward the ceiling.
Let them stay upstairs. Let them. Too many ways those monsters can get in up there. We'll see who's right. We'll see when they come begging me to let them in down here.
That's important, isn't it?
What?
To be right, everybody else to be wrong.
What do you mean by that?
She waves a hand.
Does anyone up there know why we're being attacked?
Whatever it is, it isn't just happening here. It's some kind of mass murder. It's going on everywhere. The radio said to stay inside.
Radio?
Radio upstairs. I heard a news bulletin.
There's a radio upstairs and you boarded us in down here?
I know what I'm doing.
What did it say?
Nothing. Nothing. They don't know anything yet. There's mass murder everywhere, and people are supposed to look for a safe place to hide.
Take the boards off that door.
We are staying down here, Helen.
Harry, that radio is at least some kind of communication. If the authorities know what's happening, well, they'll send people for us to tell us what to do. How are we going to know what's going on if we lock ourselves in this dungeon?
He flings his cigarette.
We may not enjoy living together, but dying together isn't going to solve anything. Those people aren't our enemies.
Mr. Cooper! Mr. Cooper, Ben found a television set upstairs.
Let's go up. Tom?
Yeah.
If Judy would come downstairs for a few minutes, Harry and I could come upstairs.
Okay, yeah, right away.
Will you do it?
Do I have to?
Look, honey, nothing's gonna get done with them down there and us up here. Do this for me.
Okay.
Okay, open up.
Cooper unfastens his barricades and opens the door. Cautiously, Judy steps onto the landing and descends. Helen is at her daughter's side. Judy joins her.
I'll take good care of her, Helen.
Helen nods.
She's all I have.
Why don't you go upstairs now?
Helen pats her child's tummy and leaves. Judy adjusts the girl's blanket and sits by her. Cooper and Helen emerge upstairs. Helen stares toward Barbara, fingering a lace covering on the sofa arm.
Her brother was killed.
Hey, give me a hand with this thing.
I gotta go help Ben with the television.
Cooper looks around and strides off. Helen steps toward Barbara and stops, then sits nearby, facing Barbara. Adjusting herself in the chair, Helen pulls a cigarette from a pack and lights it. Barbara whips around toward Helen.
Don't be afraid of me. I'm Helen Cooper, Harry's wife.
She notes the match flame and waves it out.
This place is ridiculous. Look at this. There's a million weak spots up here.
At a window, he reaches for Helen's cigarettes.
Give me one of those.
Her brother was killed.
Cooper pauses for a moment, then lights a cigarette, exhaling smoke.
And they talk about these windows. I can't see a damn thing. There could be 15 million of those things out there. That's how much good these windows are.
Why don't you do something to help somebody?
Tom and Ben, the gentlemen, carry the television into the room.
Here, I have it. Drag a couple of those chairs together.
There's a socket over here.
Cooper leans toward Barbara.
You better watch this and try to understand what's going on.
Ben glares at Cooper.
I don't want anyone's life on my hands.
Is there anything I can do?
I don't want to hear any more from you, mister. If you stay up here, you take orders from me. And that includes leaving the girl alone.
It's on, it's on. There's no sound. Play with the rabbit ears.
Reports, incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria. What do they think? We're imagining all this?
Shut up!
In all parts of the country. The wave of murder which is sweeping the eastern third of the nation is being committed by creatures who feast upon the flesh of their victims. First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent. Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted. Medical examinations of some of the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured.
Helen looks to Cooper.
I think we have some late word just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed. We're able to report a definite course of action for you. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations.
Centers are displayed individually on screen.
Throughout our news coverage, look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
So we have that truck. If we can get some gas, we can get out of here.
There's a pump out by the shed.
I know, that's why I pulled in here, but it's locked.
Emergency meeting called this afternoon by the president. Since convening this conference of the presidential cabinet, the FBI, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the CIA has not produced any public information. Why are space experts being consulted about an earthbound emergency? So far, all the betting on the answer to that question centers on the recent Explorer satellite shot to Venus. That satellite, you'll recall, started back to Earth, but never got here. That's the space vehicle which orbited Venus and then was purposely destroyed by NASA when scientists discovered it was carrying a mysterious high-level radiation with it. Could that radiation be somehow responsible for the wholesale murders we're now suffering? Newsman Don Quinn in Washington has posed those questions.
It's obvious our best move is to try to get out of here.
How are you going to get over to that pump? Look.
On screen, newsmen interview men walking from a large building.
The explosion of the Venus probe.
One wears a military uniform, 3 stars on his
That
shoulders.
was the subject of the meeting. You feel there is a connection between this and the phenomenon?
There's a definite connection. A definite connection.
In other words, you feel that the radiation on the Venus probe is enough to cause these mutations?
There was a very high degree of radiation.
Well, just a minute. I'm not sure that that's certain at all. I don't think that has been irrefutably
explanation that we have at this time.
In other words, it is the military's viewpoint that the radiation is not the cause of the mutation.
I can't speak for the entire military at this time, gentlemen.
This seems to
I
be...
must disagree with these gentlemen presently until this is irrefutably proved.
everything is being done that can be done.
We'll have to hurry for our next meeting.
Professor, you feel that there is a definite connection between
definite connection as far as Dr. Keller and myself.
Doctor, please. I thought we decided that is not proved yet.
In the background, the Capitol.
Was the satellite, when the satellite was exploded?
An unusual amount of radiation, enough to cause mutation under certain circumstances.
Could have happened.
Have a bearing on it.
It does seem to have a bearing.
Will there be a reply for this further?
Later.
Yes.
There will be a reply.
Yes.
Later this afternoon. There will be a report this afternoon, sir.
Perhaps there will be a report, a more
Later.
full report. Will you close the window?
We are doing everything possible to solve the problem.
Their large sedan, displaying banners with 3 stars, drives off.
Some further explanation of this.
We've heard all we need to know. We have to try to get out of here.
He said the rescue stations have doctors and medical supplies. If we could get care in there, we could get help for her.
No, is one of the world's foremost authorities.
On screen, Willard Medical Center.
Science and technology.
Willard. I saw a sign that said Willard.
Any moment.
It's only about 17 miles from here.
You know this area. You from around here?
Judy and I are both from around here. We were on our way up to the lake to go swimming. And Judy had a radio, and we heard the first reports about this. So we knew the old house was here, and we came in and found the lady upstairs dead. Then these other people came. We went down into the basement and put a bar across the door, and it is pretty strong.
How could we possibly get away from here? We've got a sick child, 2 women, 1 woman out of her head, 3 men, and the place is surrounded with these things.
For NASA. Dr. Grimes, your entire staff, I know, has been working very hard to find some solution to these things that are happening. Do you have any answers at this time?
Yes, we have some answers. But first, let me stress the importance of seeking medical attention for anyone who's been injured in any way. We don't know yet what complications might result from such injuries.
How bad has your kid been hurt?
Good advice, Doctor. Now, how about the basic Well,
Look, you go down there and tell, Judy? Yeah, you tell Judy to come up here and you stay with the kid, all right?
Helen nods and leaves.
With regard to the penis probe. In the cold room at the university, we had a cadaver from which all 4 limbs had been amputated. Sometime early this morning, it opened its eyes and began to move its trunk. It was dead, but it opened its eyes and tried to move.
They want you upstairs. Did she ask for me?
She hasn't done anything.
I don't understand. Baby. It's Mommy.
I heard. I'll come back down as soon as I find out what they want.
Thank you, Judy.
The body should be disposed of at once, preferably by cremation.
Well, how long after death, then, does the body become reactivated?
It's only a matter of minutes.
Minutes? Well, that doesn't give people time to make any arrangements.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't give them time to make funeral arrangements. The bodies must be carried to the street and burned. They must be burned immediately. Soak them with gasoline and burn them. The bereaved will have to forego the dubious comforts that a funeral service will give. They're just dead flesh and dangerous.
To Judy.
I see.
Judy, I need you to find some bedspreads or sheets to tear up into small strips, okay? Is there a fruit cellar here?
Yes.
We need some bottles or jars. Make Molotov cocktails to hold them off while we try to escape.
Hey, there's a big can of kerosene down there.
I'll see what I can find.
I'll look for the bottles.
There's a big key ring down there. There may be a key to the gas pump on it.
I'll check.
We can toss the cocktails from a window upstairs. Meantime, a couple of us can go out and try to get the gas and come back for the rest of the people.
But that'll leave a door open someplace.
Yeah, that's right. It better be this door. It's closer to the truck. Before we go out, we'll put some supplies behind the cellar door. While we're gone, the rest of you can hold up in there.
I found some fruit jars in the cellar. And there's a key on here that's labeled for the gas pump out back.
I'm not really that used to the truck. I found it abandoned.
I can handle the truck, no sweat.
Ben hands keys to Tom.
You're it, then. You and I'll go.
They share a look.
We'll put whatever lumber we find behind the cellar door.
To Cooper.
You can go upstairs and toss the cocktails from a window. Tom, you and I will have to unboard this door. After you toss the cocktails, you hustle back down here and lock this door. It's no good to board it up because we'll have to get back in quickly. After we get the gas and get back into the house, then we'll worry about getting everybody into the truck. Now let's move it.
Ben brushes past Cooper. Cooper fidgets and purses his lips.
Been set up. Indications are that before this emergency is over, we'll need many, many more such rescue stations.
Judy holds a pair of scissors as Tom sits nearby with a bowl and a jar of liquid. She smiles.
You always have a smile for me. How can you smile like that all the time? How many do you have done?
She hands him several strips of fabric.
Come on, honey, we gotta move.
Tom, are you sure about the phone?
The phone is dead out. All you get is a recorded message.
If I could only call the folks. They're going to be so worried about us.
Everything will be all right. As soon as we get to Willard, we'll call them. They might even be there.
I know.
She uses the scissors to tear a sheet.
Tom? Are you sure we're doing the right thing, Tom?
What, about getting out of here?
Yeah.
Well, the television said that's the right thing to do. We've got to get to a rescue station.
I don't know.
Come on, honey. You're starting to sound like Mr. Cooper now.
But why do you have to go out there?
Look, I know how to handle that truck, and I can handle the pump. Ben doesn't know anything about that stuff.
But we're safe in here.
For how long, honey? We're safe now. But there's going to be more and more of those things.
I know all that.
Hey, listen. Remember when we had the big flood? Remember how difficult it was for us to convince you that it was right to leave? Remember? Remember we had to go to Willard then? This isn't a passing thing, honey. It's not like just a wind passing through. We've got to do something, and fast.
Judy hugs Tom.
I just don't want you to go out there, that's all.
Hey, Smiley. Where's that big smile for me? Boy, you're sure no use at all, are you? We've got work to do, honey. And you...
Tom kisses Judy, holding her face. Next, Cooper emerges from the cellar stairs. Ben hands him a box of mason jars. Cooper points to Barbara.
We better get her downstairs.
We have to go downstairs now, Barbara.
She's right. You have to go downstairs now, just for a little while, until we get back. Then we can all leave.
Oh, I'd like to leave. Yes.
She stands and Helen follows her to the cellar. Ben joins Tom at a barricaded door. Tom hands Ben a hammer.
Good luck.
Yeah.
They pry planks and blocks of wood from the door. Judy appears at the cellar door. Tom looks toward her, eyes intent. She smiles. Next, Cooper at a window gathers the drapes out of the way. The living dead mill outside. Ben appears with a makeshift torch aflame.
You ready upstairs? Yeah. Okay, toss 'em.
Cooper strikes a match and lights a rag stuffed within a liquid-filled jar. He tosses it from an upstairs window. The blaze forces the creatures back from the car. Cooper throws another Molotov cocktail. And another. He lights one more and tosses it. It lands at the feet of a cluster of the creatures, setting several of them ablaze. Cooper runs downstairs.
Go ahead, go on.
Tom and Ben run outside, Ben holding back with rifle and torch. Tom confronts a creature, ripping his shirt, and he hops into the truck. A zombie paws at the driver's side window.
I'm going with him.
Judy rushes to the door. She runs past Cooper. Tom looks up from the wheel, eyes wide. Cooper slams the door behind Judy.
Well, as you coming, come on.
Judy jumps into the passenger side of the truck. Ben levels his rifle at a zombie and fires point blank. The creature takes only a step back and continues forward. Ben climbs into the bed of the truck, holding the torch. Cooper peers from inside the house. Zombies surround the truck. Ben sets one of them aflame. It flails wildly. The truck drives in reverse as one of the living dead holds to the front bumper and is dragged along the ground. The truck stops and then turns to the right, Ben holding the torch out to ward off the attackers. Cooper looks on from a window. The truck turns onto a rutted path, still pursued by the creatures. It comes to a stop at the gasoline pump. Tom runs to it with the key while Ben holds off the zombies with his torch. He places the torch on the ground and turns to Tom at the pump.
Come on! This key won't work. Watch it.
Ben fires at the pump handle. Tom pulls the nozzle out and sprays fuel at the truck.
Watch the torch!
Its side is set on fire.
Gotta get away from the pump!
Ben pulls a rug from the truck bed and tamps at a line of fire on the ground. Tom jumps back into the truck's cab. Tom and Judy drive away, fire flaring the truck's side. Tom looks back as he drives. Cooper stares from a window. Zombies continue their eerie pace onward. Tom opens the driver's side door.
Come on, come on.
I took the car.
Tom steps back into the truck just as it explodes, engulfed in flame. Ben stares blankly. Cooper looks on from the window. Dozens of zombies stalk closer. Ben backs away and fires at a male. The creature bends back, but then continues on, joined by others. Ben, surrounded, waves his torch at them and weaves his way toward the porch of the house and the front door, locked. Ben lunges his torch at zombies nearing him. Cooper stands at the cellar landing. Then Ben kicks the door open. He glares at Cooper and shuts the door, barricading it with another door. Cooper joins him. The two men glare at each other. Ben punches Cooper in the face. Cooper crawls to the next room and stands, only to have Ben strike him again. Cooper staggers to a chair. Ben grabs him and punches him once more.
Drag you out there and feed you those things.
A trickle of blood trails from Cooper's nose. Next, zombies surround the still smoldering truck. They approach the truck's cab and reach in, tugging and tearing. They retreat, gnawing on their fresh feast. One creature licks at a bone. Another nibbles at a hand. A weary Ben wipes his face with a hand and sits, still grasping his rifle. Cooper sits, holding a rag to his face. Helen appears at the cellar door, her hands at her temples.
Isn't it 3 o'clock yet? There's supposed to be another broadcast at 3 o'clock.
10 minutes.
Oh, only 10 more minutes? We don't have very long to wait. We can leave. Well, we'd better leave soon. It's 10 minutes to 3.
Ben loads shells into his rifle.
You know anything about this area at all? I mean, is Willard the nearest town?
I don't know. We were just trying to get to a motel before dark.
You say those things turned your car over. You think we can get it back on its wheels and drive it? Where is it?
Seems like it was pretty far away. Seems like we ran.
Forget it. It's at least a mile.
Johnny has the keys.
You gonna carry that child a mile through that army of things out there?
I can carry the kid. What's wrong with her? How'd she get hurt?
One of those things grabbed her.
Bit her on the arm.
What's wrong?
Who knows what kind of disease those things carry? Is she conscious?
Barely.
She can't walk. She's too weak.
Well, one of us could try to get to the car.
You gonna turn it over by yourself?
You can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.
Ben looks up and goes to Barbara.
You have a car? Where? Where is it?
You won't be able to start it.
Yeah, I know. But where is it?
Zombies mill outside the house. Ben and then Cooper go to the window. Ben switches on the television.
Good Lord.
Zombies feast on flesh.
Being monitored closely by scientists at all the radiation detection stations. At this hour, they report the level of the mysterious radiation continues to increase steadily. So long as this situation remains, government spokesmen warn that dead bodies will continue to be transformed into the flesh-eating ghouls. All persons who die during this crisis, from whatever cause, will come back to life to seek human victims unless their bodies are first disposed of by cremation.
Cooper paces to the window.
Have just returned from covering such a search and destroy operation against the ghouls, this one conducted by Sheriff Conan McClellan in Butler County, Pennsylvania. So now let's go to that film report. All law enforcement agencies and the military have been organized to search out and destroy the marauding ghouls. The Survival Command Center at the Pentagon has disclosed that a ghoul can be killed by a shot in the head or a heavy blow to the skull.
Armed civilians.
Officials are quoted as explaining that since the brain of a ghoul has been activated by the radiation, the plan is kill the brain and you kill the ghoul.
What do you think from the supply wagon, Gus?
No, we're all right. Hey, Cass, put that thing all the way in the fire. We don't want it getting up again. All right,
Chief McClellan, how's everything going?
Oh, things aren't going too bad. Men are taking it pretty good.
The chief wears an ammo sling around his shoulder and chest.
Over there.
Chief, do you think we'll be able to defeat these things?
Well, we killed 19 of them today right in this area. Those last 3 we caught trying to claw their way into an abandoned shed. They must have thought somebody was in there. There wasn't, though. We heard them making all kind of noise. We came over and beat them off, blasted them down.
Chief, as soon as you're finished, can I see you here?
Yeah, okay.
Chief, if I were surrounded by 6 or 8 of these things, would I stand a chance with them?
Well, there's no problem. If you had a gun, shoot them in the head. That's a sure way to kill them. If you don't, get yourself a club or a torch. Beat them or burn them. They go up pretty easy.
Well, Chief McClellan, how long do you think it will take you until you get the situation under control?
Well, that's pretty hard to say. We don't know how many of them there are. We know when we find them, we can kill them.
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Well, in time, would you say you ought to be able to wrap this up in 24 hours?
Well, we don't really know. We know we'll be into it most of the night, probably into the early morning. We're working our way toward Willard, and we'll team up with the National Guard over there, and then we'll be able to give a more definite view.
Thank you very much, Chief McClellan. This is Bill Cardill, WIC TV 11 News.
Thank you, Bill, for that report. Official spokesman declined to speculate just how long it may take to kill off all the flesh eaters, so long as the heavy rain...
The lights in the house shut off. All look around.
Is the fuse box in the cellar?
I don't know.
Ben steps carefully to the cellar door and disappears.
It isn't the fuse. The power lines are down.
He leans into his wife.
Helen, I have to get that gun.
Haven't you had enough?
Well, 2 people are dead already on account of that guy. Take a look out that window.
Ben returns. Outside, a hand grasps a rock. White smoke drifts around the scene as a creature steps onto the porch wielding a club. Others join it. The house occupants look toward one another until a zombie stiffly rears back, striking a window pane with a brick or rock. Ben runs to a window, bracing it with a rifle. At other boarded-up windows and doors, the barriers begin to bulge and give way. 2 hands reach through an opening toward Ben. Helen presses against a door while Cooper stays back. A creature presses a board in toward Ben, and he drops his rifle. Cooper spies it. As Ben struggles to hold planks against the hands and arms protruding through the window, Cooper grabs the rifle.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You want to stay up here now? Helen, get the cellar. Get the cellar now. Move!
Ben takes a plank from the window and tosses it at Cooper. Ben and Cooper wrestle with the rifle as Helen looks on, her eyes wide. Ben pulls the rifle away, cocks it, and levels it at Cooper. He fires. Cooper falls as the door starts to crack. A zombie wraps its arms around Helen, her back to the door. Cooper drags himself to standing and stumbles toward the cellar and down its stairs. At the base of the steps, Cooper looks toward his daughter, lying still on the platform. He staggers to her, raises a hand over her. But collapses. Helen writhes a zombie's hands around her neck. Barbara, at the sofa, holds her palms to the sides of her face. Holding a short plank, Barbara rushes to Helen, holding the wood slat at the door. Zombies flail their limbs around her. Helen escapes and rushes to the cellar, only to find her daughter on her knees over Cooper, motionless, eyes open. Karen chews at a chunk of flesh. Karen puts aside her meal, her mouth soiled. She stands and reaches her arms out toward her mother.
Oh, baby.
Karen advances. Helen stumbles backwards to the floor. Karen takes a small, pointed trowel hanging at a wall and holds it in both hands, poised high. She creeps to Helen. Repeatedly, Karen plunges the tool into her mother's neck and torso. Blood drools from Helen's mouth and splatters her light-striped blouse. Karen's shadow is cast on a wall, the dark image plunging the instrument of death in downward swings. Blood drips along the wall. Upstairs at the door, Ben and Barbara smack at zombie limbs reaching through the door. The creatures burst through. Johnny stares blankly as he grasps the door jamb with a gloved hand. At the window, the zombie from the cemetery climbs through. Ben backs away. Karen stalks to him from behind. She clutches his arms. Ben tosses her aside to the sofa. He retreats to the cellar with the rifle, closing the door. Karen presses against the door. Ben barricades it at the cellar stairs. Meanwhile, zombies stream into the house through the door and window. They converge at the cellar door. On the inside, the door bulges as Ben continues bracing it. The zombies press and rock against the door. Ben descends into the cellar. Cooper's and Helen's bodies lie still. Suddenly, Cooper rises, sitting up at the waist. Ben takes several steps toward him and fires his rifle. Ben rests his head on his hand, propped against a wall. He looks up cautiously. Helen's eyes open. Ben fires and tosses the rifle. He flails about, knocking over a wood sawhorse, then turns to regard the ceiling. Ben turns and searches the cellar, pulls the sawhorse aside, and then retrieves his rifle. He kneels and aims the weapon toward the cellar steps. Above, the creatures stagger aimlessly. Morning. The house betrays no sense of violence. A tree and branches stand in silhouette against a bright dawn. Then, a helicopter nears. In an aerial view, a line of 24 individuals walk in a field toward a road. A station wagon is nearby. The helicopter lands in the field near the individuals, men armed with rifles. Now a police wagon crosses a bridge and pulls over. Dogs handled by officers jump from the vehicle. The chief, mopping his brow, approaches some men seated at a pole.
Hey, Vince, Al, you want to get about 4 or 5 men and a couple dogs? There's a house over here behind those trees. We want to go check it out.
Right.
You go here, Bill.
Yeah, Chief, we're going to stay with it till we meet up with the National Guard.
Where'd you get the coffee?
One of the volunteers, you're doing all the work, you take it.
Thank you. We should be wrapped up here about 3 or 4 more hours. We'll probably get into Willard then. I guess you can go over there and meet the National Guard. Nick, you and the rest of these men want to come with me?
Well, Bill, I'm going to check in the office, see what's happening. All right, Steve, tell them we're going to stay with it, and everything appears to be under control.
Dogs lead officers across the field. Ben dozes fitfully. He looks up. A white-shirted creature with dark eyes steps through the field. 2 officers kneel and fire pistols. Ben stirs. A wide-body station wagon drives along a path in the field. It pauses alongside the chief.
They need you down there by the barn. Some of these guys can follow the wagon down. I only need a few men to check out the house. Somebody had a cookout here, Vince.
Yeah, sure looks like it, Cop.
The 2 men pass the burned-out truck. Ben raises his head, cocks it to one side. Slowly, he steps onto the cellar stairs. Outside, officers fire at zombies. A zombie falls. Ben climbs the cellar steps. At the top, slowly, he removes the plank barricading the door. Another zombie is felled.
He's a dead one. Get up here. Nick, Tony, Steve, you want to get out in that field and build me a bonfire?
Ben steps into the living area of the house, rifle at his side. He lifts the rifle, moving toward a window.
You, drag that out of here and throw it on the fire. Nothing down here. All right, go ahead down and give him a hand. Let's go check out the house.
There's something there. I heard a noise.
Ben is at the window, his rifle aimed.
All right, Vince, hit him in the head, right between the eyes.
Ben collapses backwards.
Good shot. Okay, he's dead. Let's go get him. That's another one for the fire.
A series of still images, men parading through the house, Ben's body. Several men, one holding a rifle and wearing an ammunition sling. Other men wield metal hooks. A hook and the lower portion of a man's legs depicted near Ben's head. Superimposed over this image, credits appear, including Ben, Dwayne Jones, Barbara, Judith O'Day, Harry, Carl Hardman, Helen, Marilyn Eastman, Tom, Keith Wayne, Judy, Judith Ridley.
Keep those dogs back off of those things.
Then, in quick succession, the metal hooks. 2 men hold them aloft. An image of Ben's body, his chest pierced by a hook. With Kira Shawn, Charles Craig, Bill Heinzman, George Cosana, Frank Doak, and Bill Chili Billy Cardile. A.C. McDonald, Samuel R. Solito, Mark Rickey, Lee Hartman, Jack Givens, R.J. Rickey, Paula Richards, John Simpson, Herbert Summer, Richard Rickey, William Burchenal, Ross Harris, Al Croft, Jason Richards, Dave James, Sharon Carroll, William Mogush, Steve Hutzko, Joanne Michaels, Philip Smith, Ella Mae Smith, Randy Burr. In a still image, Ben's lifeless form is placed atop an assemblage of wood and planks.
Come ahead with the motorcycle.
Special thanks, WIIC-TV Pittsburgh, KQV Radio Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh Police Department. Now, in film, A Blazing Inferno.